up from a lot of stuff. I just got cell signal yesterday, so.
You got what?
Cell signal.
Oh, because you were traveling. Yeah. Where were you again?
I did a week in the Sierras,
Oh,
a
that's
week-long
awesome.
backpacking trip.
Without a cell signal.
Yep, no cell signal for a whole week.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Traversed 82 miles over the High Sierra Trail. We
Wow.
started in Sequoia National Park and then ended in Lone Pine. And I summited Mount Langley.
Okay.
In there too. So, yeah, my feet and everything is tired.
Thanks for showing up.
I was like, I can physically be here.
Yeah.
So was it warm? I mean,
Most of the time, yeah. There were a couple nights that it got really chilly, and one of the really chilly nights, it was also really buggy. So just working around some of those things.
You never know about weather in the Sierras.
No.
So we
So
were,
you kind of have to prepare for everything.
so we backpacked out of Onion Valley on the John Muir Trail over Labor Day weekend a number of years ago. And it was, it was like September 1st or something like that.
Mhm.
And the temperature dropped dramatically overnight. And at about 4 a.m., it started snowing.
Oh, wow.
Like the first, Labor Day weekend. And we ended up saying, you know what, we do not have cold weather gear. We were totally, so, it was like.
Nature always wins.
So it was like, by 4:30 a.m. we broke camp and we just hiked all the way out. We had like 12 miles to get down and out and back to our cars. We were just like, we're not dealing with this snow.
And that was some of the time we're just like, how to get through it is like, all right, well, I'm gonna break camp and then just start hiking and hope that I warm up when I start hiking.
Oh, well, that was
Oh, wait, 12, 3, 4.
there was another time when just torrential downpour hit us on we were pretty far in, and then it was like a lightning storm, and we look across the ridge, and it hits this tree, and this like big old redwood like falls, and we're just like, where do we go to take
You have to think
shelter?
on your feet.
I love the Sierras though. Oh my God.
Luckily, we had really good weather when we summited.
Yeah.
I brought like windbreaker and like extra layers with me. I was expecting it would be cold at the top. It was like 75 degrees and like still as a bone. It was so nice up there.
Really nice.
How many people went?
There was 5 of us.
Yeah.
So my husband, myself, my friends Kelly and Christian, and then our buddy Danny. And I really like that I have another backpacker girlfriend with me a lot of the time.
Nice. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I joke, I pulled her up the mountain, but she pulls me down.
Oh man, I couldn't do that.
And now I'm like, all right, I slept like 10 hours last night. I think I just need to do like 3 more loads of laundry and another 10 hours sleep. And I'm good.
Yeah.
So Deborah, are you winding up your term on this committee?
Yes, this will be my last.
So sorry.
meeting.
We're gonna miss you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for all the
Sure, yeah.
the time you put into this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. I was happy to do it. Just,
And it worked out.
and I'm happy to, if you ever need somebody that's not on the committee.
Serve on a selection panel, volunteer, do the arts, go to the arts roundtable. We got you covered.
Keep you updated.
I figured you could plug me in somewhere.
Yeah,
So.
you maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I watch out, I still need to connect with Anne actually, I miss her, but.
Say that again?
I need to connect with Anne, who used to be on here too.
Yeah,
I know
Anne
she wants
Baumgartner.
to-
Yeah.
I've just been busy. So there's always gonna be volunteer opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
We're happy to have your help. We'll wait on Lisa for a couple more minutes.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, excuse me. Made coffee.
Yeah, I'm not like.
How
are you? How are you?
How you doing? Hey, Lisa.
Wiped out. I just went to the economic development to see the meeting that's gonna be there.
Hi.
Is Meredith still here with us?
She is indeed here with us.
All right, good. I didn't recognize you for a minute. Is it possible we could have a word?
After the meeting.
Okay, all right.
Is it just us four today?
Yeah, okay, okay, cool.
Well, it's a little bit later than.
Yeah.
But it's 3:35 and I am happy to call this meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Art and Public Places Committee. And Jack, will you please call roll?
Absolutely. Chair Nathanson,
Present.
Vice Chair Kiefer,
Present.
Committee Member Puentes,
Present.
and Committee Member Faulkner.
Present.
All right, let the record reflect that all committee members are present with the exceptions of committee members Azadarian and Trejo Vasquez.
Excuse me, is there an agenda available for me?
Absolutely, right on the table.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. We have no one participating remotely. And so we are going to move on to modifications to the agenda. Meredith or Jack, do we have any modifications?
No modifications.
Okay, thank you. We're up to item number 5, public comments. Are there any members of the public who would like to address our committee? Yes.
Hi,
Thank you for being
Janice
here.
Carmen, and I wanted to be sure and make it because I didn't realize there was a meeting today, and I went to economic development. And I want to say I'm here to praise this lady for her structure, strategy, and her commitment to the Ruth Asala project. And I hope that the city council falls into everything and everything goes smoothly for you, because I realize what a tremendous effort it has been to get it this far. And I want to congratulate you for all the work that you've done. She gave a marvelous presentation at the Economic Development Board. And there was a campaign manager there who tried to nix the whole thing and didn't want to have the money spent for it. Now, at the time, it was responded that it's a public artwork and that it's financed. So I hope that there's no other issues related to that. But I just want to say I have a degree in art. I worked very hard to get it. It's in Taglio. And I've spoken with Meredith before. I know a little bit about her history. And I'm very, very impressed with what she's done with the Ruth Asala project. And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you, Meredith. That's great,
And
great to
There's
hear.
no back and
What was
forth right now.
your name again?
Janice Carmen.
Janice Carmen.
I ran for city council in November.
Okay,
For District 3.
District 3?
Yes.
We appreciate you being here and for sharing with us.
Well, it's exceptional. It's highly exceptional.
And as I hope you're
No back and
aware,
forth with public comment.
oh yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry, can't comment.
That's all
now.
right. That's all right. I know the rules now, but I'll try to be quiet.
Okay, any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Adrian Littman. I assume that you probably know a little bit about me by now.
Adrian Littman, thank you for
Yes.
being here.
A couple of months ago, I submitted a request to donate a piece of art and to be installed at the 4th Street and College Avenue intersection. For some reason, it was not accepted. And I'm trying to revisit this idea and see if it's possible to do it as a temporary installation, short term, to see what the reaction is. If it's a bad reaction, I'll just pick it up, take it back home. If it's a good reaction, maybe they might want to extend it. It's free. I don't charge anything for it. I'm covered by insurance. And I think that that spot is a good spot for this particular piece. You know, I think I submitted again. I think I sent it to you. And if that's okay, I can send it again and maybe you might want to reevaluate and think about it. I drive by that area pretty often and I say, that's such an empty thing. That's nice to put something in there. So since I have it, it's available. I'm thinking maybe would be acceptable.
Okay, thank you for your offer.
Yeah,
Yeah, we will take this under
yeah, I'll send
advisement.
it in and then evaluate it, so.
Can you hold that up?
Sure. It's not too big. The landscape over there is just a bunch of boulders and some bark, so I can stick it into the ground with metal stakes. Doesn't need anything like a concrete pad or anything like that. It's all brushed aluminum, a little bit modern, you know, and look. I think it's it's a nice spot. Kind of a
Everybody, I can see that the dimensions are 6
By
feet high by 6
Yeah,
feet wide.
yeah, something like that. It's not
by
too
about
big.
6 feet deep, so.
Fits very well in that spot. Not in your face and
Can you switch your
Just-
mouse so I can see it, please?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Mr. Bennett, yeah, show it. Okay,
so
Thank you.
I don't know if that'll be a problem. If it's accepted. That'll be my second one because I installed one in September, right? The one that was approved downtown. But hopefully it will be accepted.
Yeah. all right, thank you very much.
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
and
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate your offer.
Thank you, Adrian.
Okay, well, he's out of here fast. Okay, let's see, we are on to item number 6, approval of minutes, and we have 2 sets of minutes for this particular meeting to review, so
Like to make a motion to approve May 5th, 2025 draft minutes as submitted.
great, thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the May 5th meeting? Okay, and I have none either. Okay, let's take a vote to approve those minutes.
So actually for minutes,
Oh, we
can-
don't,
as
okay.
long as we don't have
You're right.
objections, they're just as submitted.
No additions or corrections or objections, so they are approved as submitted. Let's go on to the June 9th minutes.
I make a motion to accept as submitted the minutes from June 9th, 2025.
Thank you, Kristen,
I'll
and
second
Devil
that.
seconds. It's been moved and seconded. Any additions, corrections, or objections to anything in the June 9th minutes? Okay, hearing no additions or corrections, the minutes are approved as submitted. Thank you very much. Okay, we're up to item number 7, department reports. Meredith?
Yes, I would like to take this time to acknowledge Committee Member Faulkner. This is her last meeting on the APPC, and I've been here a year, and it's been really a pleasure to work with you. And I really appreciate all of your support of the arts and what you continue to do and to show up. So I hope that we'll still be in touch in the future with different art initiatives. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to express on behalf of the whole committee our appreciation.
No, thank you. I
for
think
all your
you're all,
contributions. It's been great working with you.
thank you. Thank you very
We will
much.
miss you. So with Debel stepping down, and I understand that Nathan is also interested in stepping aside.
We're working on the replacements. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll be down to 4 and the quorum rules are, you have to have half plus 1 of the maximum number that the committee can have. So we will need to have all 4 committee members present in order to have a meeting.
How long do we anticipate it taking to replace at least one of those committee members?
Depends on the amount of applications, which I'm not aware of. It goes through the city clerk, but I've been in touch with them about it. So, and they'll know soon regarding the other spot that will be available.
If I can be of help in either identifying candidates or talking with council members who may be making those appointments.
Great. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Please let me know how we can help, for sure.
Yeah.
Can I just add one more thing too, is I know it wasn't clear to many and it still is not probably clear to myself too. Is I know that they were looking to, you had to reside in the district that you were going to be representing. Is that still the case? So whichever,
I know it depends board to board, and there have been with this committee things in the past where individuals were representing like an art establishment, something like that. And so then they were the representative from that specific district. I don't want to give info that I'm not like 100% sure about. I think in general, that's how it works, but I know that you can do it as a representative of somewhere.
When I was first appointed to this committee, I was representing the district where the Museum of Sonoma County is located and not my residence. That's shifted now, but
Yeah, we'll look into it
Yeah.
for these vacancies on exactly how it will work and let you know.
Okay.
Is there going to be public comment on the agenda
Yes, so there'll be public comment on
Scheduled items.
on this?
on
this
department reports, because we have reports, we can take public comment. Yes.
now? Or-
Yeah, the chair will call when it's the appropriate time there.
we're getting really close. Okay, anything else to report, Meredith?
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, then we can open the floor for public comments to the department reports. Yes.
Janice Carmen, and I want to address this issue of being from the district that you represent. I ran for city council in the fall, and I let it be known I wanted to be on the planning commission. And I'm very astute. I go to all the meetings right now, everything, and I've been doing this for at least 6 months. And Diana, who represents District 3, I may have said 1, District 3 is my district, appointed Terry Saunders to represent our district, and he is from District 4. And Victoria, who is from District 4 and will be reporting from Fürstenberg, Germany, either tomorrow or the next city council meeting. She is also from District 4, and she appointed someone else to the Planning Commission, and I won't mention a name. But that's how I understand it. And I am completely objecting to this because we have no one. I ran for the largest area in Santa Rosa, which is District 3, and we have no one on the Planning Commission. And I am very closely following some of these dastardly, horrible projects that are going on right now that are high density, and there's no evacuation, anything available for these people. High fire risk, building on floodplains, illegal cutting of trees. All of these things are going on right now, and they're in our district, and that's District 3. And I don't know if it's so big that nobody can handle it, but this is an indication that something is not being handled properly. And I think that when you put someone on the Planning Commission, they should represent the district that they're talking about, not someone else's district, nor should you have 2 people from the same district representing someone else's district. And that's all I'll say about that. But thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the next scheduled item on the agenda. We have item 8.1, Art Walk Potential Location Review. Okay, Meredith.
Great, thank you.
Great.
I'll share my screen here. Go. Okay. So this is the first slide, Jack? Oh, yes, it was. But maybe there was one before it. Okay, so the last meeting that we had was approved the 10 artworks, and I believe it was 5 alternates. And so right now I'm working with different property owners along with looking at city sites to see what would go where. Some of the artworks, I have not heard back from the artist. And so it sort of becomes a little game of matching, right? While the APPC does not, is not the final decision maker on the locations, I would really like your input as we look at this, because within the next month, I would like to solidify these, and we need to look at getting the pads poured, et cetera. I've been in conversation with some of the artists now, exploring what is exactly is the install plan. And so this is the start of a map. I do want to note that the Museum of Sonoma County is interested in having a piece. And there is a spot right in front of the old post office that we are exploring of having a sculpture. And I'm going to be going through each of these in different slides. This artist here we were looking at doing for the mall has not responded to emails or calls. So we may have to look at an alternate there. And that, if we did one here, that would open up a spot over at Museum of Sonoma County because we were looking at doing 2 within the mall. So as I go through the slides, remember, it's still like this like flexible stage, so nothing's set in stone. But I do want to bring it to you for your input as I'm working on this.
Are you talking to Danielle over at the mall?
Let's see, I think slide. Jack, how is it? Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to go through all of the slides with the artwork, and then we'll open it up for discussion and questions for your input on these.
Oh, so this is who we just met.
So the first artist is Urban Fiesta by Adrian Littman. And this work we're looking at doing here in Depot Park in Railroad Square and pouring a 4x4 pad in this area. This has been taken to the Railroad Square board. And while I don't believe all of them gotten back to Amanda yet, so that's still in discussion. But so far, it seems like people are really positive about this one as you can see it from when you get off of the SMART train. We do want to have a piece by the SMART train for this. However, when you go and take a look at the sites there, it's a little crowded with things. And when you're looking at these pads, you also just don't want to put art just to put art. You want to make sure it fits, as you all know, because you're artists. Next, we have Cradle and Rista Monument by Alex Barrett. And again, this is an artist that I have yet to hear back from the availability. The original location we were looking at this was here at the mall, and Danielle is still reviewing this with her team. So not only has the artist yet to confirm, I have yet to confirm this with her team. But she did enjoy this piece when she was on the selection panel. Next, we have Alhambra SRO by Paz de la Calzada. This is a little bit of the wild card one. It is carpet, and our concern is this being outdoors. We started looking at this at the Museum of Sonoma County underneath one of the overhangs because they've got a black wall. But our concern is mold, rain, etc. I am working with our parking garage manager that possibly this could go inside on top of inside the garage is on the top of the wall, right on the ceiling. But again, we're a little concerned about any type of mold or weathering regarding this.
I know that he's really been keen on getting more art into the parking garages, so that's a good idea.
Next, we have Dewdrops by Chris French. The piece here that was originally we were looking at was Rhythmic Dance, which was a large Corten steel. I sent it out to the selection panel because it is a rusted Corten steel, not what the artist had originally submitted, where it was sort of a clean steel. And the feedback I got from them was to move forward with this piece there, which is a little bit more cleaner and brighter. This would be at 7th and Mendocino as you're entering in to downtown. We're working with the team here to remove those black planters, which we're hoping to do around August. And this piece would go on a 5x5 concrete pad there. So we'll place that. And then the sculpture, all of these are hoping to be installed around September, October. Next, we have Talisman by Pamela Ambrosio. And this is an artist that the selection panel really enjoyed, and we needed to get more feedback regarding the symbols, which we did. And they're more masculine and feminine forms, nothing too specific. She did send a video that I sent to the selection panel, and all agreed that it was approved to move forward with this piece. One of the options for this is Courthouse Square between the trees across from Hotel E. This is a really nice spot. I believe this is about 9 foot tall. It would go on a 4x4 pad. Also, because this is a 2-year show and we're looking at events in Courthouse Square, right? We've got, I don't know, 85 a year almost. We want to ensure that we're beautifying it with art, but we're also allowing all those vendor booths to set up, et cetera. So this area, Bryce and I believe, would be a really great fit along with Cadence from DAO. Next, we have Wheels Go Round by Kate Davis. This is about 18 feet long. It goes in 3 pieces. Our thought is on the other side of Courthouse Square, and I apologize, I'm realizing that's a horrible image I included of Courthouse Square, where to put it. But you can't really see my mouse there because it's white on white. Closer to the square, not closer to the parking lot curb on the area in the middle of those trees there. This is gonna be hopefully a really fun, playful piece for the community. I'm excited to work with this artist. Next, we have Entropy of a Tree by Anthony Hines May. We spoke with this artist and have done a call already, and he's really actually excited about this area. So this is right across from Courthouse Square, the sidewalk, Land and Water Coffee's over to the right. There is this large grass patch that was pointed out to me recently by the DAO, and you sort of miss it, right? And you realize, what is that? It's, you know, so we could clear out an area to place a 4x4 pad here and still have the greenery around it, and then place a tree coming up from the middle. And the artist actually, it'd be a pretty simple install. We can block a couple parking spots, and he could place it right there. So he was really excited, the artist, about this piece. He does a lot of site-specific installation, so he's pretty particular in that sense. And this he was really excited about. Praying Fantasy by Lori Bowden. This is almost a 10-foot high sculpture, I believe, and about 6 feet between the tail and the feet. What we're looking at doing is the possibility of moving these musical instruments, possibly those to Courthouse Square, actually, because we want to, I don't want to say upgrade, but clean them up a bit. And then move them more into Courthouse Square area, and then place Lori Bowden's piece here. This is it plugs in. It is solar, and she can do solar, but the concern is there's not much light here. So what we would do is run a cord with a metal covering. There's a light post right over there that has an outlet at the very top, so she could plug that in directly there. And the eyes will change at night, color of what we want. She's got a remote control for it. She's a local artist. I'm actually really excited to work with her. She won first place in the professional National Arts Program. That was her piece. So, Split Site by Corey Barr. This piece we're also looking at doing in Jeju Way. I've sent the artist images of Jeju Way, and he's looking at what he can do to attach this to one of the light posts. Again, one of the posts has an outlet at the very top. We're looking at the possibility of installing an outlet on one of the other light posts. So we'd have Lori's piece there that lights up, and then Corey's that lights up as well. So I'm still working with him on what this installation plan would look like. And then just a reminder, these are the potential art alternates. So when we're looking at locations, the museum really enjoyed Drip Cube. It's one in the middle for in front of the post office. So I've actually just emailed that artist this morning to confirm availability. One of the other options for the mall could be the bench, because they are looking at activating that more, ideally with some events. And so we don't want to take up too much space. That bench actually could be a good fit. Or we could also look at Talisman could go actually at the mall instead of in Courthouse Square. So a lot of different options. Today, I'd really like just a discussion on potential locations, any feedback that you have, something that you're like, Meredith, maybe we should go this route or look at this. So I could take that into consideration as we move forward.
Could you put up the slide again with the map? Pieces? Thank you.
So is it just one piece at Railroad Square?
Correct. Yeah, there unfortunately is not too much when you're doing a walk through there. There's not much sidewalk space, and it is hard to find a location to fit art.
I have a few comments on this. So on the Cradle and Vista, that one, you said the possibility of the one at the mall and then the one over there by the museum. You have them both together at the mall. I don't want to think, when they're together at the mall, it seems like something that the mall has presented rather than the city has. And my thought was to make the most out of them was maybe to put one over there at the mall towards the street, and then one on the other side of the street. So it allows people to know that is a thorough way, that is a way from the mall to, from Courthouse Square or downtown to Rebel Square. We want to make it to attract people, to keep them flowing. And I know like the bike, the
Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, they go down that way. And that would be something lively and beautiful to see those on their way down there. And it just,
Are you
It-
talking about Third Street or are you talking about going here to Fifth and B area?
I'm
So
talking
one's-
about Third, or no, under the freeway. So I'm talking about putting one under the freeway and then one in the mall.
We can't,
But
that's Caltrans.
Is it, so you can't put anything over there in the parking area? Like right there on the
It's a
end?
process.
It's a process, okay.
So it's not,
It's not some-
not possible, but it
Mhm.
wouldn't be in time for our walk.
Okay.
So it's actually what
Mhm.
you're suggesting. I was thinking about, okay, you have two sculptures on Jeju Alley and they both are light. And I just wonder if one of those might be really valuable to activate another. Maybe, I mean, okay, if Caltrans, it has jurisdiction over the parking area, then. But is there another place that could use something that is light emitting to activate an otherwise kind of, dull or?
The issue of electricity and the power and where it's already placed.
Yeah, okay.
With JG Way, it's already up there. We already have the outlet available. Courthouse Square, it's tampered with all the time. The electricity gets turned on specifically for events because everything's tampered with.
Yeah.
So I hear you. I'm just not sure where they would be either. Yeah.
And that's another one of my comments is to that praying was when we're gonna remove the instruments that are there now and put them in Courthouse Square, will those instruments be competing with the events in Courthouse Square at all? And then another one of my comments is too on that. I like that sculpture to go down there along with the one that you suggested too, because they're both, I think they can go together because they're both family friendly and they're both relatively interactive and so I didn't think of that at first, but when you just presented it, that does look like a possibility. But then just the question is now is those instruments, if we do remove them and take them to the Courthouse Square.
We haven't discussed too much of a location yet.
Okay.
It could be in replacement of one of the picnic benches. I mean, our team really needs to explore that. I haven't even gone into depth with this with Cadence from the DAO. So again, everything's amendable and flexible. It's just getting your ideas now on like, it's art walk, it's a connectivity issue. We want each artwork to feel like it has its home in space and not just placed there. So what's the best feel for each of the pieces?
Okay.
Yeah, and thinking more about the connectivity between Railroad Square and Courthouse Square. It feels to me like it would be really valuable to have some a piece like on, I don't know, like Davis Street or near Jackson's or something like that. So you actually have something that is visible when you're getting off the highway. And because I think the placement of the piece near the SMART train is, that's you have to actually go into Railroad Square. You have to actually be, really away from the thoroughfares that bring people in and out of that area. So I'd love to have something visual that kind of leads you into Railroad Square.
I
Of course,
agree.
there is the overpass and it says Railroad Square, so I guess that's.
I agree. When looking at sites, it's just to fit a 4x4 or 5x5 pad there, it's just not possible from what we found. And if you come across something in these next weeks, please let me know. Most of it is either, it's lots privately owned, and then a lot of the Caltrans is overlaps. It's not directly underneath the freeway. It does go out a little bit. So,
And the sidewalks not that wide there.
My thoughts were about thinking, sorry. how we want someone to experience the art walk. If someone is getting off the SMART train and then going into downtown to Courthouse Square to experience more art pieces, which way would we like to direct them? Do we want to send people through the mall? Or is there more of a, leaning towards going towards the Museum of Sonoma County and kind of wrapping around that way? If that is the intent, I would suggest to put another piece at maybe B Street and 6th, where there's that parking lot right across the street from the mall. I know there is a ground level parking lot,
Mhm.
and then there's the Brickyard over there too. Just thinking about other ways to get around, then going through the mall, I would suggest keeping that in mind.
Okay.
And as also someone who participates in the Taco Tuesday bike ride, we ride around that way, and so
Right
That
down
would be-
7th Street.
yeah, or down B Street as well.
Right down B Street to 7th Street and come around that way, because
Exactly.
during the winter months when it would get dark early, I'd be sitting at my desk and I
Yeah.
could hear
But
hear
just
Taco
to,
Tuesday bikes, and I look out my window. I actually have some good video footage on my phone.
I think to have pieces located where there are people going
Yeah.
is a better idea than to try to, anyway, placing pieces where people want to go is something that I encourage.
Yeah, I'll go take a look at.
And I've been
B6.
advocating that to be the preferred route to lead people from Courthouse Square around the mall. Now, I know the mall management would rather have people in the mall, but
But this is the city of Santa Rosa, the
Yeah,
Art Walk,
yeah.
and so I want to think
Yeah.
about
yeah,
the
so
experience we want to
I'm
curate.
I completely support that idea that you go B Street to 7th Street.
And if we're looking at another piece to position over there, I think Talisman would be a strong piece for putting over along B Street. I worry about it getting a little crowded or overlooked in Courthouse Square when it's in a bosque of trees that are in different stages of blooming. I would want that piece to not be obstructed.
Where do we want people to cross under the freeway ideally? On 7th Street or 6th?
Well,
Or
when you-
5th?
I have a question. When you make this map, you're not going, are you going to show a route, or you're just gonna show the pieces?
It's not gonna be a route specific of saying you need to start here. The
Yeah, so
idea
I
is it's a
think- I
walkable
think-
experience of when you're walking around downtown, a
Yeah, I
railroad
don't
square,
think
you can
that should
see
be such
somewhere.
an issue about how people are gonna be directed, because people are gonna direct themselves. They're gonna say, I wanna see this piece, or. you
Right, but
know.
if they want to see all the work, then you're, in a sense, leading them. I mean, they
Into
can
private
go
space.
in any direction to start and they can make choices. But then our choices are really, well, is there a piece on 7th Street? Is there a piece on B Street? It's like, where are these placements?
And I think also Santa Rosa Avenue as you go into Courthouse Square, along that block would also be a nice place it's a really good focal point, like a view shed, kind of like.
Right over here as you're coming in.
And so maybe in front of, or maybe like, I'm not entirely sure exactly where, but just thinking of that block, I don't know if it makes sense to put something in front of the Roxy movie theater, but
We were really looking at space too. There isn't that much available space when you look at sidewalks. So even when we're talking about B Street, I'll walk it and take a look. But there'll have to be some type of space already that's ideally city property that we can place a pad there. And those are actually pretty hard to find around town, these locations that art would fit and it's not crowded in.
It's really,
needs to be another equity issue to me.
yeah, it's really tricky on that Santa Rosa Avenue side of the square, because like the Mendocino side and where we placed Unum, like you've got this sort of urban density feel to it. And then it kind of opens up on the other side of the square and it's like a wider boulevard and yet there's no place to put art. I do agree though, a piece of art over there would really
Or
help
what
that
about,
area visually.
yeah, if we're thinking about expanding the area a little bit, maybe even something in front of the Luther Burbank Gardens could be a good location.
So, and one item that we'll bring back to you at some point is the discussion of Comstock Mall. We are in discussion with Parks on, not only cleaning that up, but putting art, there's the theater right there and really working on a plan for that. When we first started this draft of the art walk, Comstock Mall was on my mind of placing art. With the state it is right now, I don't know if I feel comfortable placing a sculpture there, particularly lights, if it's at nighttime, having families go down there. But in the long run, again, all of these locations, whatever we choose this year, in 2 years when we replace it, these locations can completely change. So as these are installed, we're working on cleaning up other areas. Similar to at 7th and Mendocino, we have those black planters, but we have a lot of those other planters around town that we are looking at removing and placing art. But we're also just on this, let's just do one at a time because we don't have the staffing or capacity or funding to do them all right now. So this art walk, we'll choose these locations, but keep in mind the next years, we're going to continue cleaning this up and making more spots for art, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Kristen, what you were saying about maybe down near Luther Burbank Home and Garden, well, there's public art right across the street from there. I mean, major, right? That park and Mario Uribe and the Art Start project that's there. I mean, so we should really keep in mind the existing art that is already there. And then I think it would be smart on a map to actually include that. It's not temporary, but because it's permanent art that's there.
Well, be part of our art mapping project
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
working on, is getting all of that mapped as well. So there's sort of the temporary art walk, art mapping project, and then ideally they'll all come combined.
Yeah, and then ultimately when the Asawa fountain is installed, hopefully sooner rather than later. But then that also helps place a significant work of public art at Courthouse Square, right? So, I mean, it should have been already done. I know that there's been delay after delay after delay, but do we have any kind of revised timeline on that now?
Well, that will be a different subject.
Different
matter instead of
topic,
schedule
yeah.
items.
I'm just thinking of it relative to this project.
We do have to take in consideration the construction of that. So whether it's the construction of a Asawa fountain or events utilizing that space for a stage. So that's why we're not putting any artwork there, because that space does need to be free.
Great.
I only have one more quick comment too, and that's on the burnt tree, number 8. I think that was a great idea to put it there with the greenery because it's in its space by itself. And I think we have seen after the fires, the burnt tree and the new growth coming up. And I think that will definitely memorialize and help. It does definitely give everybody a time to, with it's a heavy piece, and it's a heavy piece to look at and for people to discuss and memorialize something that's not forgotten.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
So one more comment. The wheels go round piece, I wholeheartedly support the location for that in Courthouse Square.
great.
So
Absolutely.
I
Hope
hope
so
that-
too.
I hope that gets installed there.
Yes.
Oh, actually, one other question about the museum placement. So when you're looking at the museum, it's the space just to the right of the steps,
Yeah.
where I think there's currently a Carol Barnes sculpture that's part of.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's currently there. And again, this hasn't been confirmed. It's just been taken a look at, but team members in the museum. of possibilities. I think that would be a nice spot because public art needs to be public, it can't be behind in their sculpture garden. But that would involve the museum, because as much as they're not an outlier because they're part of downtown, we want to connect everyone because it's such an amazing community asset that we have here in Santa Rosa and the arts. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that spot because there's one issue with it, which is, there's a drain there, like a storm drain.
Okay. Take a look.
And there was a Ned Kahn sculpture there for quite a long time, which we had to remove because in a heavy rainfall, it backed up and it actually started causing flooding in the basement of the museum.
Because
So,
the storm drain was blocked.
yeah, and we had to remove the sculpture for maintenance crew to get in there and unblock the thing. Anyway, so the sculpture that is there now is clear of that drain, but anything that goes in there also needs to be
Yeah.
clear.
Thank you.
Okay, I think with that, we are done with our discussion. I believe it's time for public comment on that item. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Not big, but, and I couldn't hear, some of the voices are too soft and I couldn't hear everything that was said. But originally I heard that the Talisman and the Wheels Go Round are to be on the mall. And I think that they're competitive with each other because of the colors, many colors. And I think hopefully the Asawa will not have additional mitigation issues and will be going in with everybody on board and be successful in Viva. So I like the idea of the Asawa being actually where they want to put it, but it's going to probably have to go some other sideway. And the only thing I'm thinking about, I'm trying not to have a conversation, is that for the entertainment to be where it is, it's loud. And a lot of the buildings, if they're sealed with their windows, they don't hear it. But if they have to move the entertainment close to other buildings like the banks, et cetera, hotel, et cetera, then it could be really bothersome to have people have to hear all the noise from where they originally put it. So I'm hoping it's not going to be a problem. But that said, I like the idea of the Asawa being where it is. And if the entertainment could be on this side, of the Asawa, great. And then on 4th Street, I like the idea of the bicycles because of the color. And I think it's really contrasting to the Asawa real serious art. And then the Talisman, I like the idea of it being at the mall. But I also like the idea of the carpet piece being at the mall because it would be indoors. So I'm just going to add those comments because I'm not really thinking about leading you anywhere or, but I do see color contrasting too greatly with the bicycle. I'm saying bicycles with the Wheels Go Round and the Talisman if they're both on Railroad Square, not Railroad Square.
Courthouse Square.
Courthouse Square. There you go.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think that wraps up this agenda item. All right, thank you, everybody, for your input.
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, so thank you very much. Okay, item 8.2, Art Strategic Plan Goals 1 through 3.
Great, thank you. Today, I will be reviewing with you the first 3 goals of the strategic plan. As if you recall, we had 5 goals. So I'm just breaking up a little bit. Hopefully next month at our meeting, we'll do the last 2. Currently, I've been working on the results and milestones and what we've hit within these 4 years. And being still, in a sense, seasoned, I've been here a year, but I've only been here a year of it. I wanted to take this opportunity to review with you, because I think all of you have been here longer than me, on these goals and what was accomplished. So if you remember something that you've worked on, et cetera, and have a discussion on these goals, and the action items, and start to discuss what we'd like to move forward. So the next steps with this, what I'd like to do within this next fiscal year is hopefully start working on our master plan, as that really needs an update. And I think coming out of the strategic plan, we can take a look at what worked, what were our successes, what were our roadblocks, what do we want to see moving forward, and we can start to carry that into our master plan as we look at revising that. So I think that's where we're at with this opportunity. So today, I'm going to review goals 1 through 3, and I'm going to go through the action items. I have my list here of what I can recall being done from the past, items that we've worked on together in this last year, which is actually a lot that we've done together. And I have here what I'd like to take moving forward, but I really want to hear from you to start on what was done, and I'll be taking notes so I can start to pull this together for a report. So first, just a quick overview of the strategic plan. We embarked on a strategic planning process to set a new bold vision that can help the city navigate the current crisis and build an empowered, thriving, and inclusive Santa Rosa community. This was a 4-year plan that stretched from fiscal year 2021 to fiscal year 2024 and was created in collaboration with city staff, APPC members, area artists, issue experts, community leaders, and engaged citizens. So today, again, I'd like to review the current status, successes, and roadblocks, and discuss what we want to move forward to the next fiscal year, whether it's a master plan, and then also I'll be bringing forward a work plan as well, most likely next meeting, on items that we want to continue to work on and address. So the first goal was diverse voices are represented, included, and celebrated. Oh, I apologize, I have a within the programming process, outreach, and infrastructure of the public art program. So the action items we had were to look beyond visual art, to partner and build stronger relationships with culturally diverse local and regional community organizations and associations, create a set of specific criteria related to diversity and inclusion for consideration when developing and approving projects, increase and sustain community participation within the public art program, public meetings, community surveys, and open houses, prioritize diverse voices in public art programming, and prioritize transparency and accessibility. And again, once I go through these, during discussion, we can go to each goal and have discussion on those. Neighborhoods are infused with art, and community leaders across the city champion arts programming. We were to conduct a public art audit, leverage partnerships to increase impact, provide commissions and grants to artists for installations or performances in underserved neighborhoods that are reflective of the demographics of the community, create grant opportunities for art organizations targeting specific neighborhoods disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, the fires, and other current crises, serve as an active partner and resource to community leaders, and build an informal and diverse advisory board. Goal 3, public art is funded and maintained as a core component of placemaking and economic development. We were to seek regular input from the business community, explore opportunities to include business representation in the public art program planning, explore public art opportunities to support local retail and service businesses, set aside dedicated funding for maintenance of all new public art installations, and prioritize maintenance for all existing public art installations. So I know some of these, you may not be sure if we've done them internally or not, which is okay, and I can answer that today. But again, I'd really like to hear your feedback on each of these items and start to discuss the importance of each of these action items, how we want to start taking it forward. If it's a very long discussion, we can always come back to it another time too. I just want to give you the opportunity to start this discussion as it's coming to an end to move it forward. And, oops, sorry. I'll go to the first goal to start.
And Meredith, just so everybody is up to speed, because we've had some conversations about the process and timeline for setting new goals and updating our plan. What are your thoughts at this point about how?
Well, we'll need to go to RFP to have someone assist with the master plan revision. And so that will take time. My thought is if we can gather our feedback to start. So when we do get that RFP, the client that will be working with to assist us, we can at least have this feedback outlined. When I do come to you, most likely next month with the work plan for next year, I'm going to be taking into consideration a lot of this feedback on items we still need to work on, because there are some items we still need to work on. Some of these are also, as you read them, they're items that we do want to take, we'll most likely continue to take moving forward, as are almost written as more values instead of action items, some of them, the way it's written. But yeah, master plan revision will take some time. But it doesn't mean we also can't start now on these items and working on it and for our community and art.
Right.
So the item to look beyond visual art, I know that was something that came up and we were discussing because we weren't in a lot of we weren't considering at all like performance art and other kinds of art. And I'm not, it doesn't seem that we have really taken that on as of yet.
We are looking at pop-up theater in parks. I did talk to the Imaginists. I did apply for a grant, a letter of intent with them for a grant that we did not get. But it is very important that we're looking at theater and performing arts as public art and how can we integrate that. We are working on a pop-up program in economic development that could involve some type of theater. The items I had for that was, I know in Santa Rosa Forward, they commissioned a musical artist to do a video on that website. We had the sketchbook project, a coloring book project, and yeah, the coloring book, Journey to the Future. But I agree. I think that, I did update some language on our website and regarding that to make sure that the community members know that we are inclusive in that regards. But I would like to see that moving forward.
And going back a few years, I think one of the things that prompted the inclusion of looking beyond visual art was the Mary Lou dedication event with the Lowrider Council. And having attended that event and talked a lot with the organizers, I was, a number of us were kind of disappointed that APPC wasn't connected to that somehow, because it felt like it was a public art event. Even though the cars came, there were a couple of hundred cars and hundreds of people, and then they all went away, but it was still, it's like the Mary Lou patrol car, for one thing, is just a rolling piece of public art, at least from my perspective. So that was one thing. And I think it's important for us to really think outside the box whenever we can, the sound sculpture, environmental.
And one thing we had discussed at Arts Roundtable, like tattoo artists or something, where we're looking at like where are we hosting those things. So as we're taking this moving forward, we are like really being inclusive of what different types of art, not just the art that maybe we personally like, all the different types of artists that live here in Santa Rosa.
Another thing that struck me at the time, and I'm still not sure I'm clear about it, is the relationship of Out There Santa Rosa to APPC. But I do know that Out There Santa Rosa was sponsoring all kinds of interesting activities and programs.
Yeah, we've moved away from Out There Santa Rosa. We actually switched it over to Santa Rosa Arts and Culture on all social media. And that was Out There Santa Rosa was an initiative through the Economic Development Department. It was not, did not receive APPC funding. So that's why it most likely was never brought to here during that time. But it did highlight a lot of artists. So I wasn't here during that time, so I can't tell you.
It seemed like there was an overlap, and there were like some parallel things that were going on, but we like never connected the dots. So that would be something I'd be really interested in seeing us do. It's like, okay, arts and culture as a department and APPC as, an advisory body. also a decision-making body. You know, I want to make sure that we're really clear on the relationship and how we can complement one another or even integrate our activities. Okay, I'm just gonna say what is probably on everybody's mind is that we enthusiastically have dug into the diversity and inclusion aspects of our work and what we want to see happen. And there is a sort of a national decree, it's basically opposing that. And so I just want to voice my support of continuing to really think about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the work that we're doing, and accessibility, because I think it's really important for recognition of the importance of all members of our community. And so I've been watching the news really closely, and I have a lot of colleagues around the country who are in red districts and having to really deal with some serious issues and the defunding of programs and exhibitions and things of that nature. But I don't think we can take it for granted. So I think we have to be conscious of how we think about diversity inclusion and recognize that it's in the language of our plan. It's sort of integrated into the philosophy of the work that we do. And if we intend to continue to really, I guess, be dedicated to those concepts, then I think it needs to be stated.
And I do know that I believe maybe all four of you were on the committee when you did the diversity training through Kids and Creative, which I have all of those hours tracked, et cetera. So we'll be putting that in the report of what was been accomplished. One of the items was a specific set of criteria related to diversity and inclusion for projects. We do have the public art proposal form, and I have conducted an audit of all of the artwork. So when we're looking at the public art proposal form, it's, how many art pieces does that artist have? Where are they looking at putting this? Is it somewhere where we already have a lot of art, or is it a new area? Are they a local artist? Where are they from somewhere else in the US? And that's diversifying our program. So while we don't have a specific set of criteria, which I'd open up to discussion with you as well on that criteria if we did, I do feel with that bullet pointed action item, we have met that because of the background work we've done and sort of our process moving forward to ensure that those initiatives have been hit.
Great. Any other comments or questions or observations about goal number 1?
The prioritize transparency and accessibility. How are we going about doing that? I mean, what has been?
What's been done?
Yes.
We now on our website, you can apply to be a selection panelist, which is actually really exciting because we get in some really neat people in the community. And that's allowing people to participate and opening that up. To me, that hits that accessibility button, right? The public art proposal form. Now anyone could apply to have their artwork in Santa Rosa. Whether it's going to move forward or not, we have our checks and balances internally, but it's opening up opportunity for everyone. Transparency, I prioritize that by bringing everything here. So even as an example of the public art walk locations, it's not something that's just being decided on and bringing forward that decision, even though you can't, the decision's not being made here, it's getting that feedback and it's being transparent about where we're at in that process. Some other items, allowing, tribal collaboration for a mural I put on here. We had a student on one of our selection panels We're doing a lot of outreach to different organizations for partnerships for all ages. The other item for this moving forward will be the Arts Roundtable Initiative, which while it's, yes, checking a lot of boxes, I also think they're really important things to do. So it's not just about checking a box. But I think that's going to really allow us as a city and APPC to be more transparent and accessible to the community members, because we'll be going to them and we'll be listening to their feedback. So to show, it's more like you can do spreadsheets all you want and check boxes, but I think it's also putting it into action by doing, which I'm hoping to do this next year.
I'm glad you mentioned that too. We've been, Meredith, Kristen and I have, and Nathan too, have been discussing the Arts Roundtable, the format, but also really what the possibilities are. What Jacob has been in those meetings too. But I think it's really, it's going to really give us an opportunity to have a dialogue with the community. And I think that really will make huge strides towards that transparency and accessibility goal. Not only listening, but also it's an opportunity to let people know what we're doing, how we function, and how people can communicate with us in the future.
I agree. And I think one of our hurdles, because I'm also looking at roadblocks for some of these too. I mean, we can list all the successes we want, but like what's stopping us from succeeding? And I think a lot of times, like we have our meeting here at 3:30 and, you know, most people can't attend this. And so again, with the Arts Roundtable, going to them and not having too much of a formal agenda, but just hearing their feedback and talking about that district and what do they want to see. I think people will feel more comfortable applying for public art through government. We can walk them through the process. If you don't know, sometimes it seems really scary on what to do. And then once you know, you see the same people applying all the time because they know how to do it, right? Yeah.
Well, I think an important thing too is there's a formality to these meetings that doesn't encourage a two-way dialogue. I mean, it disallows for it really. But I think the Arts Roundtable format being informal is actually going to be designed for dialogue. And I think that's going to be really valuable. Obviously, we have to be, you know, conscious of the rules of governance for, you know, how we make decisions. So we, you know, we can't make any decisions in those, you know, those informal meetings. And we have to be, you know, careful not to, you know, violate the rules of conduct for this particular commission. That being said, it will, you know, the way that we're going to set it up, we'll be able to have these two-way dialogues with hopefully dozens of people.
Should I go to goal 2?
Yeah.
So neighborhoods are infused with art and community leaders across the city championing arts programming.
I had a question about this goal. Is this how we talk about priority areas or areas of the city that we think are, trying to think of another term other than art desert?
Underserved.
Art
Underserved.
deserts. It did highlight that in the strategic plan. They called them art deserts.
Okay.
So I did do a map of all of the art in our permanent collection. And that map is currently in our GIS system, which the art mapping project is going to utilize. We're just finalizing the data for that. And so hopefully this coming year we'll have that online map. And you'll see that the majority of it's all downtown and Prince Memorial Greenway.
So then that will provide actual quantifiable data rather than feelings of, I think this is an underserved area.
Yeah.
I can actually point to the map and say.
And while like Roseland may have some great murals that are privately owned, we did do a lot of our facade improvement grants there. We don't have any large placemaking or permanent collection there. We do have the Coffee Park Wellspring piece. So all of that, we've done the audit of where the art is. So moving forward, once we have that map, the online map, we could really see together on where do we want to start prioritizing to place public art.
Thank you.
And I think you spoke a little bit about partnerships, which is good.
And then I was also wondering too about the grant opportunities for our organizations and stuff that, what was that? Yeah, that was for, they had for COVID-19, the fires and current crisis and stuff. What was actually, what were we going to do with that? Because I thought we were going to get some funds to the side and that's what the plans were. And we didn't we have our, we're in the process of.
Yeah, I'm not sure with that. So
Okay.
what I have in my notes is the Coffee Park Wellspring, because that was an area that was impacted by the fires. We had the Art Surround grant that was done. The KPI for that is to increase number of neighborhoods with public art. So all of that with the audit goes underneath this indicator of, okay, let's increase in neighborhoods with public art. So how are we doing with that? We had the Big Valley Trash Can project, it's a facade grant and murals, which that was not funded through APPC, but we did have this ARPA funding that did murals on business facades, which were great. And I believe there was maybe 10, I could be wrong, because it was before my time, but I could pull that data. So, so that was really great. And those were in neighborhoods and areas that could use public art. But that would be, you know, I'd love to hear any feedback if there was anything I was missing on that, or also, how do we want to take that moving forward?
Art Surround was with the county, right? So is there anything you know of that's coming from the county that we can partner?
Oh, moving forward.
Yeah.
I haven't, you know, honestly, I haven't had time to look at any grant opportunities or partnership opportunities with them, because we've been focused on the art walk right now. But it, you know, they're a really great resource and a great partner to have. We're very lucky to have Greater Sonoma.
Definitely.
One of the other items I have in my notes here moving forward is, while we're looking at grant opportunities for art, we also want to look at when disasters do happen, what our role is. And we've been meeting internally about our economic development team and what our role would be. So if something does happen, we have our role. We, you know, whether it's we work directly with artists, we have backup art storage for them. They can move paintings if it's a flood or a fire. So, in, you know, maybe in the next couple of months, that's something I take forward here, and we could just start that discussion of what our role would want to be in case of emergency, because we're all willing and able people. And I think in the time of emergency, you do want to know, okay, so we can help artists. And then do we do a community art piece? Because art is very, you know, it brings community together. So having those things sort of pre-planned and designed can also really help in a time of crisis.
Great. I'm looking at the the next to last bullet point. Serve as an active partner and resource to community leaders. And I did, this is maybe a good time to share with the committee that I attended the mayor's luncheon for the board and commission chairs a couple of weeks ago. And I was sitting next to Eddie Alvarez. And I reported that we were working on an arts roundtable project in which we're going to be going out to the community and inviting artists and art lovers. And we were going to pretty much set it up as like a movable feast. We'll start in the Sofa district, then go on to Roseland and so on in different neighborhoods around Santa Rosa. And over a period of a couple of years, meeting on a quarterly basis, we could really get around to all of these different parts of the city. And Eddie immediately said, let me know how I can help with Roseland. I'm so excited about this. And he was really enthusiastic. And I just think that the Arts Roundtable as a vehicle to connect not only with artists, but also the council members and other community leaders who are connected in these various parts of the city, the various districts. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for us to form better relationships with all of them. I hope.
Jeff's comment was a perfect little segue for what I was going to talk about. Also looking at that same bullet point, as a reminder for our committee to advertise events that are going on in our community and to really be those agents of change of, oh, I think that this would be enhanced by involvement with public art. I've been really excited about the traction that I've gotten with Bikeable Santa Rosa and bringing together a public art collaboration. So I really want to see more initiatives like that in the future and really hope that this is, I think this is great language for that goal, and I don't want that message to get lost in this update.
And Meredith, should we talk about the last bullet point is about an advisory board. And so we're kind of changing our thinking about that. That's what the Arts
That
Roundtable
would be
is
the Arts
about.
Roundtable. So I did take that bullet point forward to our team and et cetera. To do an advisory board, it would almost have to be a governmental body. And then those would be, you know, the Brown Act, et cetera. To do an Arts Roundtable, which we felt was a lot more inclusive and, like you said, would get more dialogue of a two-way, would be a better use of this action item. Again, you know, if we find changes in a strategic plan and we feel it's okay, you don't have to exactly check that box if we can explain why when we feel it's better. The team felt that as well. That way, I think we can get a lot more participation on those items. And to your point as well, it's hard to build an informal advisory board. So
Because it's a formal structure.
exactly.
Right?
So you either have something that's a little more informal, or you have an advisory board, which really is what APPC is, and also a decision maker. So if I built an advisory board that was more formal, it really wouldn't make sense because you're advising me on items like the Art Walk locations, and you're also making decisions for me on some different items.
I think you also bring up an important point for us all to remember, that a strategic plan is a living document. So it's not something that is like, okay, this is the roadmap. It is set in stone. It's like, you've got the roadmap, but you know, you're going to find that, oh, you know, there's a detour here. You know, we're going to have to find a different route in order to get where we're going.
Yeah, and it's okay to say we went the wrong way for a little bit. If we end up doing something and maybe with the Arts Roundtable, we're like, it didn't work, or just trying new things, I just think is really important to success.
Great. Good. Well, let's move on to goal 3.
Okay. Public art is funded and maintained as a core component of placemaking and economic development.
So, I don't know, Meredith, maybe you can speak to your relationship with the business community, because I'm not sure the 4 of us have that much relationship with the business community right now.
Yeah, we work very closely with the business community. Rachel and Raphael have been doing the Rise and Thrive breakfasts, which I'll be taking the Art Walk to. Once we have that set in place, that's really going to sort of spearhead the initiative of the business community of involving them when we have this Art Walk in place, is getting some brochures out to them on their involvement. We're very well connected with the chamber. We work with them on a lot of different initiatives. So we're always getting feedback. We did just send a survey out to all the districts, which are just community members, regarding the arts program, and feedback on what they like, what they don't like, improvements. So I'm really excited to see that. And then we're always getting feedback from the business community, whether it's directly through the DAO, through their board, et cetera, on placement of public art. And then we had the facade grant as well, which worked with the business community in different neighborhoods. We are looking at doing an art merchanting guide on how businesses can leverage arts with their business, whether it's hosting an artist meet and greet, selling local artists, connecting them with local artists for some items that they sell. Each business is so different. But some type of guide of saying, you know, you may not sell art specifically, but this is how art can impact and grow your business.
Great, thank you.
Does that first bullet point also, I guess, speak to any presentations that you might be having with the Economic Development Subcommittee?
True.
Do they
Yeah.
have regular updates about what our committee is doing, or?
I don't do updates specifically from our committee to theirs, but I do arts and culture updates. The last one was on the Ruthsawa Fountain. So depending on the agenda, because they're usually pretty large agendas, I do plan on bringing the art walk to them, whether, I think it's an August meeting, Jeff? Or-
Yes.
So ideally, if I can have the locations almost set, I'll bring that forward to them. So I'm sure they'll be really excited about the economic development portion of that for downtown and Railroad Square.
And if that information is going to be presented to them, please let our committee know so
Okay.
that if we are available to attend, or if we have a public
Mhm.
comment or something to say on, you know, behalf
a
of
great
my
point.
position.
Yeah, good for, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good
would like
point.
to have that voice.
Thanks. I will.
And is the second bulletin there, does that mean, does that give space for to have businesses represent themselves through different kinds of events that we may have by participating in help funding an event?
What I put here in my notes from my time here so far is that for the art walk, I had the business community represented. I had the DAO, I had the Mall Railroad Square Association, so they're all representing those businesses. I had a representative from the Chamber of Commerce on the Earth Day panel. And I'll have local artists on panels as well. So it's diversifying our panels, I think, as much as we can, whether good to have some artists, but it's good to have community members and the business community. I would like to have more of some, maybe a small business owner on one of those as well. And I'm not sure if there was anything before my time that was done, and maybe you guys know or not, regarding business representation that either came to this meeting or was heavily included in some planning.
Not an individual business, but definitely, for instance, the Railroad Square, and a few other committees that we have participated with.
We did, for Big Belly Trash Cans, we did partner with a lot of different businesses down there and schools. And there was a large outreach for that as well. So it wasn't, we're looking at not just placing art and then saying, surprise, you've got something here. It's just involving everyone along the way so they could feel that sense of ownership and taking in that feedback. So more like that community pride, that portion of it.
And I feel like the facade improvement project, even though not specifically APPC, it was connected to the work that we do in a very substantial way.
Yeah. I agree.
And to dovetail off that comment, the facade improvement grants, I would like to see, you know, I would like to see another opportunity for our committee to sponsor activities like that. If that is in the plan or something that we could, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for sprucing up of, you know, means facade improvements, to also be an opportunity for arts encouragement and placemaking. So I would like to have more conversation about that in the future.
And I could see actually taking that conversation through the arts roundtables and really getting community feedback as to where there might be an opportunity for us to work together in order to, you know, whether it's a facade improvement or it's public art in an underutilized space that we want to transform.
The difficult part with public art funds would need, and if it's permanent art, it would need to be on city property. Now, I agree, though, it's really great with the facade improvement grants of giving these businesses an opportunity to improve their business, beautify their business, connect with the local artist. So I will bring this back to us to like explore more, I think, on how we could do that. We do have some funding possibly available for some artist grants. And if that's a route we want to go in different neighborhoods of having them apply,
That'd be great.
that could be neat if we had some sites either selected if it's permanent art or if we want to say it's temporary. I think we could look at our options. Sure.
Great. Well, I'm looking at the time and we are getting close to 5. So it'd be good to wrap this up. Any other comments or questions? Public comments. Yes.
Thank you. Janice Carmen, I just want to say that 2 things are going away right now. And I unfortunately was one of the people who was misinformed on one of them, but it's the art studios that you visit that we just had very recently here in Santa Rosa, and the ones that go out toward West County, which is called Design and Studios or something. I'm not exactly sure what to call them right now. But you know what they are. You get them in the mail. They're ubiquitous. They're on every counter when you're walking around.
Talking about art of
And
the
when I
source.
was going to the open studios a few weeks ago, a couple of people got me in the corner and said, you know, they're quitting publishing this. And they were saying it was the city. So that's where I was misinformed. And it's not.
the Sebastopol Center for the Arts.
Sebastopol Arts, that's right. Now, this is an area that I think that you can pick up on and replace a lot of what they're doing. And I don't know how it would take in publishing. And I'm sure the city's not real excited right now about doing something like that, but something to consider, because these artists were really crying to me that they work really hard. They spend a lot of money to prepare for these openings during the open art studios. And then now to not have that, they're wanting them to do their own email and get a hold of people themselves. And that's just an impossibility as far as I can see. So I'd like to bring that up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that input. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your strategic plan comments. We're moving on to, that's interesting, this says 9.3, but I think it's 8.3. Arts and culture update.
All right, my favorite part. We're doing a lot of great things continually. Our team's been very busy. And so today I'm just going to review with you some of those items that we have up and coming so you're aware of it. Live at Juilliard 30th anniversary. This starts on July 27th and goes through August 31st. It's every Sunday from 5 to 7 in Juilliard Park. We are looking for some volunteers. If you're interested in working in the information booth with me, I'll have some rec cards regarding our program, sort of recruiting people if they ever want to volunteer, be an art ambassador, getting them signed up. So all of the information is on our website, srcity.org/arts. And on that also, you'll see all the links to all the Facebook events. So if you can share with your friends, that would be great as well. And I'm really excited
I'd like
about
to add
this.
real quick, Meredith, everybody here should have received an email about volunteering. And so I haven't responded yet, but I will. But I encourage everybody to sign up for at least one time. Okay.
Right now, we have an art exhibit at the Finley Center Senior Wing. It's the Historical Society of Santa Rosa. This just went up June 23rd, and it's up through September 8th. So it goes through the history. Here it says, we at the Society believe that to truly understand where we are and where we're going, it is necessary to know where we have come from. Our history is rich and interesting. We can take pride that Santa Rosa was pronounced the chosen spot of all the earth by Luther Burbank, world-renowned tourist. So also, just to go back to our strategic plan and partnerships, Bryce does a really great job on coordinating all the efforts over at the Finley Center for these rotating exhibits. Here we have this historical society, we've done the quilting guild, and all becoming independent, et cetera. So we're really valuing those community partnerships through giving them the space at Finley Center. If you do know of anyone that's interested, on our website, you can also now just apply to show at Finley. It does have to be an organization or a group show. So we don't do any single artist shows. Stay connected with us. So on our social, we're always posting different opportunities. We have the crafts fair over at the Finley Center. The deadline is July 18th. And you can apply on our website, srcity.org/crafts fair. And that is managed through the Parks and Rec Department. But if you have any questions, let me know and I can connect you. That's a great opportunity to sell your work for the holiday show. Second Sundays, Rachel Beer, our admin analyst, has been doing awesome work at this and taking the initiative to partner with Farmers Market. So we now have Farmers Market on Courthouse Square every Sunday. And the cities partner with them on the second Sundays to do, whether it's partner with the Children's Museum, there'll be, I don't know, the canine companions or some pets. I'm not sure the organization's name, but there'll be dogs there maybe one day. So there's a lot of different activities. If you go on our website, she's listed the music, the partnerships, et cetera. So that's really exciting. And that's all I have for you. We've been working hard to just keep our website updated with this information too. So any questions on upcoming events, it's all there.
That's great stuff. Thank you.
I have just a question. Can I ask a question? I think at the last meeting, we talked about perhaps having some artists at the Juilliard Music. Is that happening?
So unfortunately not. I received a very little amount of applications.
Okay.
And so I decided to not do it. I tried to open it up to everyone for a free booth space, and we just got very limited applications when you're looking at the event. It just didn't make sense to do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Meredith, could you update us too, since you did do the updated for the Ruth Asawa on the economic board, can you update us too, if there's any new information?
It's not an agenda item.
Okay.
But it is going to council tomorrow on the foundry contract to start the panels pouring.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a council item tomorrow.
Okay.
And I can add it to the agenda, I think maybe August, September.
Okay, perfect.
What time do you think it'll come up as an agenda item tomorrow?
It's a consent item, and I believe it starts at 3:30, so I can email it to you.
Yes, I might be available. I'd like to be in the room if possible. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, we're up to item, public comment. Public comment for the staff report.
I just want to make one suggestion or just a thought, something I'd like to see. When you're talking about performance art and alternative art besides visual art, I wonder, and I know I can't have a two-way conversation, but the question in my mind is possible competition between, like, say, dancers on the square, comedians, whatever it is that is appreciation for specific arts, and have a build up about it, and people win something, or something like that. That there be performance art that is actually performance art. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 9, which is committee member reports. Anybody have any exhibitions, events, anything going on?
Shout out for the council meeting again tomorrow. If you want to see a mural that I helped paint, it is now installed in council chambers.
Oh, great.
So
Okay.
And I'll be there at the council meeting tomorrow to talk about the active transportation plan. So yay, bike lanes.
Okay, great. I might see you there. Good, thanks, Kristen. And I'll just remind everybody that last month, the Return to Paradise exhibition that I curated up at Paradise Ridge Winery, it opened a couple of weeks ago, and it will be on view continually into the future. Hopefully, way beyond a year, where we're hoping this is semi-permanent, will be ongoing. But the winery is open to the public. Gates open at 8 a.m., close at 5 p.m. So you can pretty much go any day of the week between 8 and 5. And it's in the sculpture area called Marika's Grove at Paradise Ridge. And some really good outdoor art, really beautiful stuff. And all of the artists are really local to the region, which is great. Any other committee member reports? Okay. I think that wraps it up. It's a little bit after 5, and thank everybody for being here and for your input and questions, and to members of the public.
Thank you very much.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Double.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Miss you.
Debra, thank you so much for
Yay.
everything.